Hello everyone, and welcome to Rabe Creations. My name's Nicole, and I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, here in Canada, where I live with my husband Barry and my wonderful rescued Rottweiler named Grace. So this is Flosstube, I believe, number 5. Today is May the 7th, Thursday, May the 7th. And we are still on lockdown. Good news is that we found out that as of next Friday, I believe it's May 15th, they will start to lift some of the restrictions that they have had on us. The social distancing, or physical distancing, whichever you want to call it, those rules will still stay in effect, but they are going to slowly start opening things, including some shops that had been closed. So let's cross our fingers that our local needlework stores, our local yarn stores are going to be able to function again, even if it's just even if they have to limit the number of people coming into the store at a time. It'll be great to get back out there again. Alrighty, so that was a bit of a rabbit hole already. It's been a rather productive couple of weeks for me. I have a couple of finishes to share. I have, I believe, one new start. I have a wee tiny bit of haul. I'm waiting for those shipments to come in. Yeah, so why don't we get right into it? So as I said, this is Flosstube. It is all about cross-stitching. If I'd like to say hello to everybody who is coming back, who has found the channel and is coming back and watching again. Thank you so much. Yeah, just thank you. If you're new here, or if you're one of the new subscribers, hello, thanks for taking the chance on us here. If you do like what you see, of course, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and that way you will be able to keep coming back for more. Let me see, what else was I going to say about that? Oh yes, I should tell you that I am, if you want to connect with me outside of the YouTube realm, I am also on Facebook. Rabe Creations does have a Facebook page. Now, it's not a Facebook group, so it's not real interactive. It's more like just a Rabe Creations page where I share makes and that sort of thing. It's also a really good place for those who are local to me. So if you're in the Calgary, Okotoks, Airdrie type area, and you'd like to make any purchases from my Etsy shop, contact me there, and we can work out some local drop-off situations instead of having to ship it. What else? Oh, I am also on Instagram. Instagram is probably where I am most active. I do post every week here on YouTube. 1 week is Flosstube, the next week is my crochet videos. So they bounce back and forth. So I will do a Flosstube episode every 2 weeks. But if you need more than that, come join me over on Instagram. I am Nicole_Rabe Creations on Instagram. I will link everything down below. Yeah, I'd love to connect with you on Instagram as well. All right, so let's get on with it. Enough rambling. I thought I would show you my finishes. I have 2 of them. So I'll show you my finishes first. Then we will get into the whips, because there's lots of whips. And then we'll close out with that little bit of haul that I've got to show you. So, some finishes. So first of all, I have the skeleton key. Now this was a really quick stitch. I got this done up in probably two rotations on my whip rotation. It is a StitchyFish design, and it's out of the Just Cross Stitch Halloween 2016 edition. I really, really like this. I stitched it up on, I believe that is a 14 count hand-dyed aida. I hand-dyed it myself. So of course, when you hand-dye, the counts get a little bit tighter than that, but I think it started out life as a 14 count. So I hand-dyed it myself, sort of a gray with purple. And then the floss I chose is sort of a grayish blue. I will link my floss color down below because the pattern in the magazine just called for a basic 310, and I thought that this sort of bluish gray color looked really neat and different against the purple instead of just being black. I am currently working on a project that is almost completely black, so I was looking for something a little different. I really like how this has turned out. I am not entirely sure how I'm going to fully finish it yet, although I do have some fabric in my stash that has antique keys on it, so I might figure out a way to incorporate that fabric and maybe some nice lace. And I was thinking about almost doing a wall hanging, so sort of more of almost like a quilt top, with this being the center of the quilt, and then having some fabric along the sides and having it hang on the wall that way instead of being a framed piece. Yeah, so there's that. Hooray! Quite pleased with that one. I really like how this turned out. Next finish is And So to Bed. So I've shown this a few times as it has been progressing. There it is there. I am really happy with how this one turned out. So this design came from the Cross Stitch Crazy magazine, January 2019, issue 250. I will put all of the particulars down below in the description box. This one is going to be framed, classically framed, and go up in my bedroom. I'm not sure actually whether it's going to go in my bedroom or my spare bedroom. Our spare bedroom is has a lot of decor in it, in blues and pinks, so I think that would work quite well, although there's a soft spot for this design. As soon as I saw this design in the magazine, I knew I wanted to stitch it, and I immediately thought, of course, it would go into my bedroom. So that is probably where it will end up. So I did not use any of the called for colors for this piece. I completely worked from my existing stash. It is a mixture of DMC and J.P. Coats threads, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I think my favorite parts are the shooting stars, which I think add so much to it. The back stitched stars just add that little bit of whimsy and delicateness to it. And I really love this font. So I think I've covered it all. I love everything about this design. This is a great design. Yes. What more can I say? All right. So those were my two finishes this week. Not huge projects, but it's nice to see some finishing. I did only have one new start. Normally, as I finish one, I add another one into my rotations. I am waiting on a couple of orders to come in, of flosses and fabrics, and that's sort of I'm not wanting to start other projects because I have partially kitted projects that I am trying to get into rotation. So hopefully those orders come within the next couple of days, and I can get those into my rotation. And until then, my rotation just might go from a 7-piece to a 6-piece, maybe to a 5-piece, until I get more of my supplies in, and then I can add things back in. I'm thinking that normally, I think I'm going to have an extra day now on Sundays that does not have a project assigned to it. So I think maybe Sunday will be my luck of the draw day until my my other supplies come in, where I will just put all the current projects into sort of a random project picker, and I will allow a random project picker to pick a project for me for that day. Alrighty. So those are my finishes. Hooray! Hooray for finishes. As I said, it has been a fairly productive 2 weeks between the stitching and the crocheting. I have gotten a lot accomplished, and it feels pretty good. Alrighty, I am going to step away, take a brief break. Of course, it won't seem like that to you because I'll be back instantaneously. And then we can talk about my current whips. Alrighty, see you in a few seconds. All right, so some current whips. Coffee is my beverage of choice today. So let me start out with this one because it's the one I have to reach for. This is Crow. There's one new whip that I will be introducing. Everything else you've seen before. So this is Crow. It is a PDF download that I got off Etsy. The store is Stoney Knob Farm. Stoney Knob Farm Heirlooms. It is a photograph that has been charted and is in mainly gray and black tones. There is a purple in it as well. And I have really sort of gone back and tackled some of the confetti. So on this side is easier for me. So what can I say about this piece? I have filled in a large amount of the empty spaces that were there. And I have started to sort of figure out my, how shall I word this? My comfort zone when it comes to doing these full coverage pieces. I am working in a cross-country style. So I'll start here and figure out, okay, what's the thread or the color that needs to go into that little space. I'll get that onto my needle. I will fill in that space and then look for anything else within reason. I am traveling with my thread along the back, but not huge distances, just short distances. If it's more than 4 or 5 stitches away, I won't bother, and I'll go to it when I get closer to it with the other colors. And that really seems to be helping me to fill in some of the confetti. I explained before that I was doing a lot of School of Magical Stitches at one point, and that was really getting me to concentrate on these fill-in spots, these larger blobs of color. Just the nature of most of those challenges were all about stitch counts. So in order to get a lot of stitch counts in, I would keep coming to here, and I was leaving behind all the confetti, and I've decided that that is not the way to get this piece done. So I'm sort of going back and forth. I'll do a thread's worth of confetti stitching, and then I'll come in and do a thread's worth of fill-in stitching, and then go back and forth. And that really, really does seem to work for me. So I'm quite pleased with how this one is turning out. And here is sort of the farthest I've gotten. This has gotten me onto page 2, this little bit here. And it's only a few stitches away from the crow starting to come into picture. So yeah, that'll be exciting when I start to actually stitch on the crow itself. So there is Crow by Stoney Knob Farm Heirlooms on Etsy. Alrighty, so next, pull the 2 from the side first. So, Merry Merry Needleworker. So this was, as I'm sure you are all aware, a market release from this year's market, Nashville market. And it is a Lindy Stitches design, and I fell in love with this the moment I saw it. So I am stitching the night scene. I was a little worried about starting this because I don't have all the flosses. That's part of what I am waiting for. But I thought, oh, you know, I'll just take my time. There was no reason for me to worry about it because, holy cow, there's a lot of stitches in this. So here it is. This is being stitched on an 18 count hand dyed fabric, 18 count Aida that I hand dyed myself. I am starting with the skirt, Merry Merry Needleworker's skirt, and I am using this gorgeous, I hope the variegation is showing up. This is a floss by hand dyed by Rolanda. She is on Etsy if you are interested in in anything she has. She has great fabrics. She has great flosses. She has charts. She has everything. She is a complete online needlework shop. And she's Canadian. So if for fellow Canadians out there with the shape, with the where our Canadian dollar is at in comparison to the US dollar, it is well worth it to find some Canadian shops to support, and this Rolanda is one of them. So I definitely suggest checking her out on Etsy. I will link her down below. So yeah, I am quite pleased, and it may not look like a lot of progress has been made, but this is no joke, people. That is a lot of stitching. Holy Toledos, that's a lot of stitching. And to think that her dress goes beyond the original line that I started to sort of start me out in my center count. Wowzers. That's a lot of stitching. Now, I guess the thing is if I had all my other flosses, I would be able to sort of backtrack and do sort of like what I'm doing in my full coverage piece, where I do sort of maybe a thread's worth of skirt and then a thread's worth of something else, and then a thread's worth of skirt and a thread's worth of some other motif, just to sort of not get stuck into this rut of just back and forth with this red floss. Thank goodness it's variegated, because if it was just solid, I think I would be going crazy by now. So yeah, it is. I love how it's working up, and it's still one of my favorite pieces, but that's a lot of stitching. So Mary Mary Needleworker by Lindy Stitches. And I just got that as a PDF download off of Lindy Stitches Etsy. You can order, of course, paper copies from her or from your LNS as well. So the next one I've got to show you is B by Emily Morris of Pyro Dog Pins. Another Etsy download, an Etsy purchase. And this one I am closing in on a finish. Hooray! So this is being worked on an 18 count white Aida. And it is being worked in all of the called for DMC flosses, and I love how this is turning out. This will definitely have pride of place here in my craft studio when it is completed. I really, really, really like how this one is turning out. I will link Pyro Dog Pins down below. It is a stitching shop out of the UK, an Etsy shop out of the UK. But of course, PDF downloads are immediate, which is, great for us who like that immediate gratification. So yeah, I am really pleased with how this is turning out. Yeah, woohoo! Almost done. I don't know whether to say that it'll be a finish for next week, knock wood, because, I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, this may be the piece, instead of doing a random pick for my project on Sunday, this may be the piece that gets 2 days worth of work, just because I think it can be a finish if I just give it an extra day or so. All right. So as I put this away, I will let you know that no, I am not really doing anything special for Mania this year. Maybe something that I look at more closely for next year. I just didn't have enough supplies to have things kitted up. And thank goodness I didn't start and have my heart set on it, because shipping is taking a while. Let me just go off on a little rant here. A little tangent. You may or may not know that I do have an Etsy shop. Excuse me. Rabe Creations on Etsy. I sell hand-dyed Aida, as well as floss drops for cross stitch, and some project bags. It's a different style of cross stitch project bag. It's more of a tote bag, but definitely go take a look if you're interested. I also do hand-dyed yarn and crochet patterns. I do cross stitch patterns. All of the patterns on my site are original. They're all mine. I do hand-dyed yarn, naturally hand-dyed yarn, so using natural botanicals, things that I forage. Yeah, shipping right now is slow. Not on my end. I am still honoring my 3-day shipping window. In fact, most times it's going out the next day. But once it's in the hands of Canada Post and the USPS, I do only ship to Canada or the US. But once it's in the hands of the post offices, it's out of my control. I'm finding that shipping within Canada is still sort of the regular times, but shipping to the States is taking longer. Please, 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 whether you're purchasing for me or other Etsy sellers or anyone else right now for that matter, we thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, but be patient. It is taking a little bit longer. What can I say? Global pandemic, shipping, ordering and shipping into another country. Whether we share a border or not, it's still a different country, and it does take a little bit longer for things to get to where they're going. So please, I beg everybody's patience. My husband said I should just say, you know, Amazon isn't promising things. You know, even if you have Amazon Prime, they're still giving you a 1-month window for delivery. And if, you know, the kings of 2-day shipping are having problems getting things to you, then, you know, me working out of my craft studio in the upstairs of my house is definitely, I don't have any inside tracks on how to get it to you any faster. But be patient, bear with everybody. One day this will be over and everything will go back to normal, but until then, just be patient. All right, so back on track with my works in progress. Let me see what I can show you here. So this is my new start. So this project is coming out of a Ultimate Cross Stitch Fairies. It is a magazine out of the States, and the whole magazine is full of fairies. What I am working on is, I want to show you the chart. They've turned them into these sort of drums. I'm working on this one here. So it's a little fairy door. So it sort of shows the front door of a potential fairy abode. I'm working on this one. I will not be finishing them as drums. And I probably won't do the other two. I just really like this one with the stonework in it. Now, I am working it on just a piece of spare aida. I think it's a 16 count, it looks like. Just sort of some of my aida bits and pieces, scraps. This is what I have got so far. Not a lot. There we go. Oh my goodness. So that is what I have got done so far. And it is the door of said fairy abode. I should tell you who designed that, shouldn't I? Let me just double check here. Fiona Baker is the designer behind this project. Now, I had most of the DMC flosses that were called for, and I sort of pulled them all and did a bit of a, you know, put them down on my aida cloth, and you know, I was getting excited because I had most of the colors, and those that I didn't have I was able to sort of substitute. But then when I looked at all the colors, I went, oh no, they were really, really bright and vibrant. Perfectly great for other people, but really not my jam. I like things that are a little more subdued, a little more mellow. If I was doing that up for, say, a little girl's room, the bright colors would be perfect. But for my space, I think I need some more subduedness. So this is my color palette for the project. So much more subdued than the color palette originally. So it's got some stone colors, a bit of a sort of brownish reds going in there, to deeper reds and pinks. The two purples I've chosen are, again, very subdued. They were very, very vibrant. The greens also, I've gone with two very mellow greens, more of a naturalistic look, whereas the greens that were originally charted were very bright, very little girlish, in my opinion, very bright. I'm just not a bright colors kind of gal. The only really bright that I stuck with is this greenish chartreusey type yellow that is going to be, there's some dragonflies, and this is going to be the dragonflies' wings. I think they'll just make them pop. But then we get into some mellower yellows. So yes, definitely a subdued color palette, which is more my speed. I think this is going to be really pretty in the end. Lots of brickwork, and yeah, there's some mushrooms, and there's some dragonflies. Yeah, I really am looking forward to having this one complete. So I will show you more of that as it progresses. Like I said, that is sort of one night's worth of stitching. Well, actually half a night, because I finished off, I believe it was the key, and then started on that one in the same evening. So next we have Who's There by Prairie Schooler, the Prairie Schooler. Fun stitch, really fun stitch. Primarily done in 310 in black, with some orange and some browns as well. But primarily 310. Let me show you where I'm at. So this piece has seen some good progress. It's one of those pieces where you just don't want to stop working on it. Sort of just that, oh, just one more thread, just one more thread, just one more thread. I am working this on a 32 count Lambswool linen, and I got it from 123 Stitch. It is a big piece of linen for this little piece, but as I explained before, I have ordered, and I'll show them to you because they arrived, 3 more of this size of these motifs, sort of the same feel. And I'm going to be doing all 4 of them on here, sort of making one bigger sampler out of it. So that is where I'm at with Who's There. So I've got both of the owls completed. The interior border, there's a little acorn up there. The interior border is done with the lock. I'll be doing the 2 skeletons on the other side, and I have started work on the house, the haunted house in the middle, and the roof line of that house. So yeah, lots of progress, I feel, was made on this piece here, and I'm really enjoying this. I really like that linen. I've said before, you know, if you're an Aida stitcher who is looking to maybe expand a little bit into linen, that may be the direction that I would suggest you go. So my next piece, excuse me for 1 minute while there will be a little bit of rustling while I get the proper picture out. That is the plan anyway. There it is. Oh my goodness. All right, so there it is. So it's a Barbara Anna Designs, and it is Autumn Tree. I really like this piece. I won a giveaway from the 911 Stitcher. Hooray! And yeah, I really, really like this piece. This was my tale of woe, where I have run out of one of my DMC colors that I need to finish off the tree, the last limb and the very bottom of the trunk. So until then, I am going to continue to work other motifs and whatnot until that DMC floss comes in, because it is somewhere between here and 123 Stitch. So this is where I've gotten so far. This, since last time, I have filled in a lot through here. So another crow has gone in, another little house, an acorn, just about completed. One of the colors, the color that I'm missing does complete the top of the acorn as well, so that is incomplete. But some more stars, some more leaves. I have worked out the charting for the little sign that hangs down here because I'm going to have it. It is charted at 2014. Because that is the release date. It was a 2014 release. I'm going to, of course, stitch it to say 2020 because it's 2020. Yeah, so I will continue working downwards. I can fill in the girl, the sign, everything on this side, and then just hopefully that DMC floss will come from 123 Stitch soon, and I will be able to finish off the tree. This one has another couple of weeks, in my opinion, of work on it. But I really like this one. I quite like the aesthetic of this one, and I think I will be definitely getting, I think it's called Oh Christmas Tree, another of the Barbara Anna designs. I really like that one too, so that may be on my list soon. Oh, and I can't show you that one yet. So we are one short in my current projects, in my whips, because I did not replace the And Sew to Bed piece with a new piece. As you can see, I've already got one partially kitted that I'm waiting for stuff. I've got 2 or 3 more on my shelf that are partially kitted. I'm just waiting for more flosses and that sort of thing. So I didn't want to start another one. Like the fairy house was kind of just I'm really getting low on my whips if I don't introduce another one. So I introduced that one, but I have 2 or 3 that are partially kitted, and I'm just waiting for that extra floss. So fingers crossed, those deliveries will come in within the next few days, and I'll be able to get them started and show them to you next time. Alrighty, I'm going to take a momentary pause, and then I will show you my little bit of haul that came in, and that'll be about it for today. So give me one moment. Alrighty, so my little bit of haul. So my local needlework shop here in Calgary is called Traditional Stitches, and it is sort of the exact opposite corner of the city from where I live. Of course, right? So it is a bit of a trip to get there. And of course, right now with all of the restrictions, they're just doing curbside pickup anyway. So I figured that I would do an online order, since I would probably spend as much in gas getting there and back as I would in postage, since it's only a few little patterns that I ordered, a few little charts. So that's what I did. It came extremely quickly. I would definitely recommend... Bird just flew right by the window. I would definitely recommend Traditional Stitches for anyone. They do a great online service. So if you are local or even not local, give them a look-see. I will link them down below. Janice over at Traditional Stitches, amazing customer service. So all right, so this is what I got. These are the other 3 charts for my Prairie Schooler Halloween piece. So I managed to get Night Flight, which is kind of cute. So we've got a witch. I like this moon. I love his expression. She's sort of flying over top of the houses. There's a little bat. And check out that border. Is that not the most amazing border you've ever seen? I love it. And it's all worked pretty well in the same colors, or at least I will be working it all in the same colors. So yeah. So this has got orange, and a black brown, and oh, and a little bit of white. The other one had orange. So I'll do this in DMC 310 for the black, the orange that I'm working on with Who's There, and of course white. That's no problem at all. And then we have Misfortune. Misfortune is worked in white, orange, and then the black brown. So I'll be doing it in white, the orange, and then the 310 that I am working Who's There in. And finally, we have Double Double. And again, orange, black. This one has some gray in it as well for the tendrils of steam coming out of the witch's cauldron there. And I think that will be able to work in quite nicely. In fact, maybe I'll do it in green just as a pop of color. Yeah, so those will be the other pieces on the Who's There, and then imagine Who's There is where I am. So I think overall it's going to be a really neat Halloween piece. So that's my little bit that came in the mail, and that is about all I have for you today. So thank you so much for joining me today, listening to me ramble on about my stitchies. What else was I going to say to you? I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's all I got for you today. So tune in next week for an update on all of my crochet projects, or if you are not into that, skip next week and come back in 2 weeks' time, where we'll update you on all of my cross-stitch adventures. Alrighty, that's all I have for you. Remember, be kind to each other. Take any opportunity you've got to help lift each other up, especially during these times. Let's be each other's support systems. Be kind to yourself. Yeah, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be okay. However you're managing to get through the craziness that is our reality right now, it's okay. Make sure you're reaching out if you need to. Make sure you're there to be reached out to if someone else needs you to. Alrighty, that's all I have for you. Choose kindness, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.